Hey there, I'm Maz, and welcome to Maz Show. This is your space to explore big ideas through books, society, knowledge, and history, all with one goal to build a better world and a brighter future. If you are curious, reflective, and ready to grow, you're in the right place. So tap follow, hit subscribe, and let's get thinking.
If you've ever looked at the Shanghai skyline today, it's just incredible, isn't it? So futuristic.
Absolutely stunning. A real symbol of China's economic power now.
Right. Second largest economy, maybe soon to be number one. But here's the thing that gets me. China being central to world trade. That's not new.
Not at all. We're talking centuries.
Yeah, like going back over 250 years. And the trigger is pretty wild. It involves this massive demand for silver in China. Colliding with the discovery of this incredibly pure silver way over in the Andes Mountains.
Pontesi, the legendary mountain of silver.
Exactly. And that connection, well, it basically kicked off the first truly global trade network. And China, not Europe, was right at the center of it all.
It's a fascinating part of history that often gets overlooked.
We want to unpack how China's initial dominance, fueled by this silver obsession, built incredible wealth and influence. But also, and this is the tragic part, how it kind of sowed the seeds for its own near destruction.
Right.
That whole period they call the Century of Humiliation.
Right. And it's more than just dates and events. We're really exploring this complex dance between economics, politics, and crucially, these huge cultural misunderstandings.
Yeah.
It all started with something seemingly simple.
Yeah.
An emperor saying, pay your taxes in silver. But that one act set off a chain reaction that reshaped everything, not just China, but the whole world, really.
Okay, let's get into that. So 1581, that's the key date. The Emperor of China says, right, everyone pays taxes in silver.
A huge shift.
Huge. And it creates this, unprecedented demand. Suddenly, silver is the thing, apparently even worth more than gold inside China at that point.
It essentially turned China into a giant silver magnet, pulling it in from everywhere.
And the global impact was massive, wasn't it? I mentioned Potosi.
Oh, absolutely. That policy basically vacuumed up the world's silver, especially from Potosi in the Andes. That mine was legendary, just pouring out silver. And that flow of silver is what really connected continents in a new way, creating that first global trade network. By the 1700s, China, particularly under Emperor Qianlong, was undeniably the dominant economic and cultural power.
And their goods were highly sought after.
Unbelievably so. The craftsmanship, Chinese silverware, porcelain, silk, it was just exquisite. Unparalleled skill and beauty. Everyone wanted it.
Right. So the whole world is clamoring for Chinese luxury goods. Porcelain, silks, you name it. But the catch is, China only wants one thing back.
Silver.
Just silver. They felt they had everything else they needed. Which, sounds great for China, but what about a country like Britain? How did they deal with that?
Well, this is where another key commodity comes in. Tea.
Tea, of course.
Yeah, this plant became incredibly popular, almost like an addictive drug, across Europe. Britain especially went mad for it. They were importing something like 80% of all the tea coming out of Canton.
80%? That's huge.
Massive. And the British East India Company controlled this trade. Remember, they weren't just a company.
No, they were like a state within a state, right? Private army, warships.
Exactly. A semi-governmental force. They ran parts of India. It was a colossal business.
But even with this giant tea trade, Britain had a fundamental problem.
A huge one.
They tried selling things to China, cottons, woolens, whatever, but the Chinese just weren't buying.
Nope. They didn't need it or want it.
So Britain had to pay for all that tea.
How? With silver. It was just bleeding out of the East India Company's coffers. A constant drain. China had all the leverage.
Okay, so this silver drain becomes a massive headache for Britain. They're desperate.
Completely unsustainable for them. They knew they had to try something to rebalance things.
Which leads us to 1792.
Precisely. Britain launches this huge effort, this grand trade mission led by Lord George McCartney. The stated goal, convince Emperor Qianlong to buy British stuff. Finally.
But you said there was more to it. Deeper ambitions.
Oh, yeah. McCartney's instructions went way beyond just selling goods. Britain wanted a proper trading base on Chinese soil.
Like their own territory.
Exactly. And, crucially, they wanted a permanent British embassy in Beijing. This was Britain, the first industrialized nation, feeling its power.
Flexing its muscles.
They saw themselves as equals, and they wanted China to acknowledge that.
So McCartney arrives in China July 1793, and he has to wait.
And wait, the emperor wasn't even in Beijing. He was miles away at his summer retreat. Qianlong was in his 80s then, incredibly powerful, ruled for ages, expanded the empire.
Receiving tribute in a tent, apparently.
Yeah, receiving tribute from ambassadors across his vast empire. And here's the famous bit, the kowtow.
Right, the whole kneeling head to the floor 9 times thing.
Standard procedure for meeting the emperor. McCartney refused.
He just went down on one knee, like he would for King George.
That's the story. A major breach of protocol right before presenting these supposedly amazing gifts.
What did they bring?
The best I could think of. This amazing planetarium, they thought the Chinese loved astronomy.
Okay.
And the centerpiece was this solid gold box covered in diamonds with King George III's letter inside. Very grand.
But it didn't matter.
Not one bit. Qianlong's reply was polite, but utterly dismissive. That famous line, "The productions of our empire are manifold, nor do we stand in the least need of the produce of other countries."
Ouch.
Yeah.
A total shutdown. But beyond just the failed trade mission, this must have caused a huge shift in how they saw each other, this clash of worldviews.
Absolutely massive. The embassy was a complete disaster for the British. The king just weren't going to treat them as equals.
Because Qianlong saw himself as
The son of heaven, ruler of everything. King George was just some minor king from a faraway island in his view.
So he rejected everything. The trade, the embassy, the base.
Everything. And then he made a point of showing off his military might as McCartney traveled south. Basically a warning. Don't mess with us. Stick to Canton.
And how did Britain react to that?
It completely changed their view of China. That earlier fascination, the xenophilia, it just vanished. Replaced by contempt, really.
Wasn't it McCartney who said China was like an old warship?
Yeah. An old first-rate man of war, heading for the breaker's yard. Implying it was decaying, and maybe Britain could even give it a push. A huge shift in attitude.
Okay, so the Grand Embassy fails, Britain's view sours, but they still have to trade on China's terms, which means Canton.
Right. Canton remained the only game in town for Westerners. And entering the 19th century, it was booming. A real golden age for the city.
It's one of the wealthiest cities in the world.
Absolutely. A nexus of global trade and a workshop of the world, as you said earlier. Thousands of skilled craftsmen churning out goods, porcelain, silverware, furniture tailored for foreign tastes, and cheap.
But life for the Western merchants there was restrictive.
Incredibly so. They were stuck in this tiny area, the 13 factories right outside the city walls, couldn't learn Chinese officially.
Couldn't mix with locals, no women allowed.
Correct. Even wives were banned. It was almost like a prison, but because the potential profits were so immense.
They called it the Golden Ghetto.
Exactly. They put up with it for the money. They still had their luxuries, banquets with their Chinese counterparts, the Kohong merchants.
Ah, the Kohong. These were the officially appointed Chinese merchants handling all the foreign trade, right?
Yes, a very powerful group. And within that group, one man stood head and shoulders above the rest.
This is where Hawqua comes in.
This is Hawqua, an incredible figure born the same year as Napoleon and Wellington. And he became, arguably, the richest man in the world.
Wow, how did he manage that?
Just extraordinary business skill. He navigated languages, volatile global finance. He was careful, but also incredibly bold when needed.
And his main business was tea.
Mostly tea, yeah. Selling vast amounts, especially to the East India Company. The profits were staggering and reliable. His fortune was estimated at over $1 billion in today's money. More than the Rothschilds at the time, some said.
But he didn't just sit on his silver.
No, that's what's fascinating. He was a financier, too. There's a story about a fire in 1822 where literal rivers of silver melted and flowed from his vaults.
Rivers of silver.
But he didn't keep it all there. He lent huge sums, 10 million pounds, to the East India Company alone, plus loans to other merchants.
And he was worried about keeping it all in Canton.
He was. He feared avaricious officials, as the account goes. So he looked for ways to invest abroad, and he saw an opportunity.
With the Americans.
With the Americans, yes. This new rising nation. He started partnering with American merchants to invest his money overseas. Incredible foresight.
And what was the impact of that? Where did his money go?
Well, quite surprisingly, Hawqua's money helped fund a lot of America's Industrial Revolution.
Really? How?
He invested heavily in American railroads, in factories, in coal mines. It's a direct link often missed.
Any specific examples?
Yes, a big one is Warren Delano. He made a fortune, thanks to Hawqua's backing, And Warren Delano was Franklin Delano Roosevelt's great-great-grandfather.
No way. So FDR's family fortune has ties back to this 19th century Chinese tea merchant?
Directly. It's an amazing connection.
What was Hawqua like as a person? The Americans seemed to respect him hugely.
They held him in incredibly high regard, called him incredibly honorable, punctual, nobody's fool. He was known for his amazing hospitality, too.
Those 15-course banquets.
Legendary 15-course Chinese dinners at his amazing home, sometimes the first he'd host there in years. The trust was immense. He even had his American partners invest part of his fortune for him.
Incredible story. But, okay, despite Hawqua's success and the wealth in Canton, that fundamental problem for the West didn't go away.
Still there. They needed something, anything the Chinese actually wanted to buy other than just handing over silver.
And the solution they landed on was opium.
Opium, a plant-based, highly addictive, illegal drug. It was a shocking decision then, and frankly, it's still shocking now.
To just decide to flood a country with drugs to fix a trade deficit.
It fundamentally altered world history. The impact on China, its economy, government, society, individuals was just catastrophic.
And you use the word flood. What kind of scale are we talking about here?
Devastating scale. Remember, smoking opium was already banned in China back in 1813.
Right.
But the trade just exploded. In 1767, maybe 1,000 chests came in from India. By 1838, it was 40,000 chests.
40,000.
40,000. Millions became addicted, from top officials down to laborers. And all that silver China had accumulated, it started pouring out to pay for the opium.
So the British were the main drivers of this, growing it in India.
Primarily, yes. Cultivated in Bengal.
And it wasn't just random smugglers, was it? These were organized operations.
Highly organized.
Yeah.
You had figures like William Jardine and James Matheson, ambitious Scotsmen. Their company eventually became the huge multinational Jardine Matheson we know today.
And they innovated smuggling.
Systematically. They commissioned special ships, fast clipper ships, designed specifically to smuggle opium up and down the Chinese coast, outrunning patrols.
And they saw themselves as legitimate traders.
Bizarrely, yes.
Gentlemen.
Licensed traders, not common smugglers, but quite the mental gymnastics. And Americans got involved, too, bringing opium from Turkey.
Okay, so China is facing this massive addiction crisis, silver pouring out. The Emperor Daeguan has to act.
He does. In March 1839, he sends his top guy, Commissioner Lin Zexu, described as his most incorruptible official, down to Canton.
With orders to stop the trade?
Stop it, Dad.
Yeah.
And Lin was incredibly effective and ruthless.
What did he do?
Moved fast, demanded all addicts and dealers surrender their opium immediately or face death. Arrested over 1,500 Chinese dealers. Confiscated something like 70,000 opium pipes.
Wow. And the foreign merchants.
He basically put them all under house arrest in the factories, including Hawqua, who was apparently threatened with beheading if the foreigners didn't comply. Real pressure cooker situation.
And the British gave in? They surrendered the opium?
Eventually, yes. Lin got 20,000 chests of British opium, a huge amount.
And then he destroyed it, publicly.
Publicly destroyed it.
Yeah.
Mixed it with water, lime, and salt, and flushed it all into the Pearl River. Millions and millions of pounds worth gone.
Just flushed away. That's an incredible image. Why so public? And wasn't there something about him praying for the fish?
The public destruction was a massive statement, obviously, sending a clear message. And yes, the story goes, Lin, being quite Confucian and humane, offered a little prayer for the river life before dumping the poison in.
After destroying the opium, he wrote to Queen Victoria.
He did. A famous letter, basically scolding her, asking how she could allow this poison trade. He genuinely seemed to believe, in a Confucian way, that if he pointed out the error, she'd see reason and stop it.
He thought she'd learned the error of her ways.
He did. He just couldn't grasp a ruler knowingly allowing something so harmful for profit. A fundamental misunderstanding of the other side.
And, well, he couldn't have been more wrong about the British reaction.
Completely wrong. The destruction wasn't seen as law enforcement. It was seen as an attack on British property and an insult to the British state.
Jardine and Matheson pushed for war.
Absolutely. They led the charge, lobbying Parliament furiously. The mood shifted. You get that infamous quote from Lord Palmerston, the Foreign Secretary.
Give China a good thrashing.
And explain ourselves afterwards. Chilling. They wanted war, and they got it.
The First Opium War. And militarily, China was just outmatched at this point.
Hopelessly outmatched. This was post-industrial revolution Britain, fresh off victory in the Napoleonic Wars. Their technology was leagues ahead.
Steam gunboats.
Steam gunboats like the Nemesis, iron-hulled, could go against the wind and currents, heavily armed. It practically won the war by itself, steaming up rivers the Chinese thought were impassable. China's traditional navy and forts stood no chance.
A total mismatch, leading to the Treaty of Nanking in 1842.
A deeply humiliating treaty for China. It basically granted Britain everything McCartney had asked for decades earlier, and more.
So British citizens could live and trade freely in 5 cities?
Yes, the treaty ports, no more Canton system, and the big one, the island of Hong Kong was ceded to Britain.
In perpetuity.
In perpetuity. That treaty marks the start of what China calls the century of humiliation.
Explain that concept a bit more. Why is it so important?
It signifies this period where China felt it lost control of its own destiny, forced to obey foreign powers. It wasn't in charge of its external affairs anymore. It was being dictated to. That memory, that deep sense of grievance and vulnerability, profoundly shapes Chinese nationalism and policy even today.
And Canton's golden age, Hawqua.
Canton's dominance faded rapidly. Hawqua died just a year after the war. His family's fortune didn't last long. But Hong Kong, it began its meteoric rise. And Jardine Matheson, built on opium, became a powerhouse, a complete reversal of fortunes.
And this humiliation didn't end with the Opium War, did it?
No, it was just the beginning. There were more disastrous wars like the Second Opium War, where the Summer Palace in Beijing was looted and burned by British and French troops, an act of pure vandalism and punishment.
Just terrible.
China faced increasing pressure, not just from the West, but also from a rising Japan. Everyone wanted, as they said, a slice of China. There was a genuine fear among Chinese elites that the country itself might not survive, that it faced extinction as a sovereign nation.
So wrapping this up, it's an incredible arc. From China being the world's economic center, pulling in silver, to being forced open, humiliated, all tracing back, in a way, to that 16th century tax decision.
It's a powerful illustration of how interconnected things were, even then. Economic decisions, cultural assumptions, technological shifts, they all intertwined to create this dramatic centuries-long story that shaped the world we live in now.
Understanding that history, the leverage, the clashes, the commodities, the technology, it really does give you context for today's geopolitics, doesn't it? Global trade, power dynamics.
Absolutely. It's crucial context, which really makes you think.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, how might today's demands for certain resources, technologies, consumer goods be creating new imbalances, shifting power in ways we don't fully see yet? Could we be seeing echoes of that past, where a mountain of silver or a simple cup of tea could inadvertently trigger conflict and reshape the world all over again?
Show, let's go, open up your mind and grow. Facts and stories, things you never know. Every episode, we light the glow. Step into the world of Mass Show. Turn it up, let the rhythm flow. Feel the beat, take control. Don't be shy, just let it go. This is where the magic grows. Tune in now, it's the Mass Show. Lights up bright and minds will glow. Every day we learn and grow. Come along and join the flow. New ideas begin to shine. Breaking limits, crossing lines. Every moment feels divine. In the world of Mass Show time. Turn it up, let the rhythm flow. Feel the beat, take control. Don't be shy, just let it go. This is where the magic grows. Tune in now, it's the Mass Show. Lights up bright and minds will glow. Every day we learn and grow. Come along and join the flow.